Hey guys, and welcome to Saints TV. It's Thursday, so the lineup's going to come out in a couple of hours, but I thought I'd get my preview in before then. We're playing Adelaide, it's round 3, it's Etihad Saturday night. Let's get into it. We've talked about it all week. We played North Melbourne last week in round 2. It was a shocking turnout. There's been a lot of negative publicity around the club this week. Luckily for Bulldogs doing what they've done and losing 2 games pretty heavily, that's kind of taken the heat off us, but it's definitely going to be on Saturday night. We couldn't really have a tougher follow-up match to what we dished out against North in Adelaide, who've hit really good form, beating Richmond last week in the grand final replay on Adelaide Oval on Thursday night. A lot of changes I'm anticipating for this lineup. I talked about it yesterday. I think the likes of Dunstan, Mav Waller, potentially Marshall will come in, even a Caulfield for a debut is a possibility, but it remains to be seen what's going through. The club keeps posting photos of the guys training and saying they're ready for it. It's all talk, it doesn't matter. It's all about what happens on Saturday night on that field. We really need to give 110%. Not one passenger I want to see. It's got to be as unrelenting as we can be. It's got to be as hard and as ferocious as we've been on the ball in the last couple of years. We want to see that intensity that took us to a 10-goal win against the eventual premiers last year against Richmond in round 16. We want to see that tenacity that took us to beating GWS, who are dubbed the best team in the competition right now. We've done it against some top teams. We need to do it against another top team in Adelaide on Saturday night. It's going to be a tough one. Adelaide have had their injury worries with the Crouch brothers being out. Douglas will be back after his 1-week suspension. You've got Tom Lynch, who's obviously looking like he's going to be in. Sloane's recovered from his kind of injury against Richmond last week, so they've said that he's pretty good to play. So they're as close to full strength as they can be. They've got a very formidable lineup, a really disciplined team. There's a team out there that you want to look at and see how they perform and how they all know their structure. It's Adelaide. They pretty much played the perfect season last year, apart from on grand final day, which we all know is when it counts. They had a season similar to us in 2009, dominated any opponent that came near them, had a great home record, good final series, dominated that until the grand final, and they couldn't get the chocolate. So they're hitting some good form. It's going to be a tough one. I just feel like we can talk about matchups all we want, but it's going to come down to how much we bloody want the ball, how much we want to win, and how much we want to get our crowd up and about. We can't have it like last week. We need to get into the game, and that's why I'm urging all you guys. We've got to get to the game. We've got to support the boys and Richo, and really hope that they turn it around, because if they don't, it's going to be a tough period. We're going to have to travel to Geelong and play Geelong, then we've got GWS, and I think we come back and play Melbourne and Hawthorn in Tassie. So there's some really hard games coming up against teams that are above and around us. So it's games that we've talked about for years that we're ready to win, but they haven't done it yet. So there's a lot of talk going on. There's a lot of chit-chatter around how good we're going to be on Saturday night. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. We need to go out. We need to give a performance. It's all going to be won at the contested ball. Adelaide are great at winning the contested ball. But what sets them apart from a lot of good teams with contested ball winning is their field kicking. They are so good at it. They cut right through the middle of the ground. If you watch the fourth quarter last week when they kind of strangled Richmond, they went through the middle, and usually they've got the likes of Tom Lynch connecting defence to the forward line. They haven't had him this season, but we may well see him back against us. Whether we put Carlisle on a Tex or a more mobile Jenkins remains to be seen. I personally think it's going to be a tough matchup either way, because if you play Brown on Jenkins, I think Jenkins is too mobile, but if you play Brown on Tex, who's probably the more one-on-one contested possession forward, he's still more mobile than Brown. What I want to see is probably Carlisle go to Jenkins, who did have a very good performance against Richmond, Brown to Tex, and then maybe a Robertson to have that battle against Tom Lynch if he comes in. So it's going to be tricky, but then on the other end, we have to make their defenders accountable. They love running off their men, so it's going to be really important for Membry, Bruce, McCartan, and even Gresham and Billings to make sure that anytime they run forward and we get the ball back, we need to hurt them. Forget bombing it into the 50, because Adelaide are going to eat that up. They've got Hardigan, they've got some Talia, they've got some very good defenders there, so very big defenders. So we can't go and bomb it. We have to lower the eyes. Basically, think of the North Melbourne game. Everything we did wrong there, we need to flip it and increase intensity, because we're playing a top team. And I hope the guys treat it that way. I hope that they really do look at the game plan and find different aspects of it that we can utilise, and not just hope that the players are just going to find a way, bomb it forward, and Bruce and Membry and McCartan are going to take care of the rest. That's not how it's going to work. I'd absolutely love to tip the Saints, but I really don't don't see it happening. I do see a strong performance, and I really hope I'm right on that. If we win, I'm going to be the happiest guy in the world, and you guys are going to roast me for tipping against us, but I think most people are tipping Adelaide, and it's rightly so. We were very poor against North. They look like they're getting back to their form. They were really good against Richmond, and they play Adelaide quite well. We haven't beaten them since 2011. That's how long it's been since we've beaten Adelaide. So, I mean, all records come to an end, so hopefully this is one that we can tick over. Hopefully it's a great turnout crowd-wise. It was really poor against North Melbourne, and that was a Melbourne team, so I know Adelaide have a bit of a following in Melbourne, but it's up to us to really get to the game, make it a red, white and black crowd, and really make some noise, because the guys need it, and freaking hell, we need it. So anyway, that's it from me, guys. It's going to be a tough game, so we'll see how we go. It's going to be a big performance. It's probably that line in the sand game that Richo really needs to get the boys up and about for, and really get a performance in. Otherwise, it's going to be another long week like this week. See you guys.